In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Peak Design travel tripod, and I'm going to try to figure out if it's actually worth the price. Peak Design is one of those companies that does things a little differently, and they put a lot of emphasis on ingenuity and different design. And I do appreciate a company that thinks outside the box, so much so that I actually did invest in their camera strap and their clip. And if you want to hear more about these, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be talking about these in future videos. Peak Design did send me a tripod to check out. I didn't have to pay for it, but this video is not sponsored by them in any way, and I have full reign to say whatever I want about the tripod. Alright, so let's take a look at it. First thing is that it comes in this nifty box. This is probably the nicest box I've ever gotten a tripod in, but not sure, how useful that is. I guess if you're traveling and you want to put it in something really secure, this can work. So let's open that up, and inside that you actually have another case, a nice, looks like almost wetsuit material type case. Now this is probably what I would travel with. So open that up, and it comes with a nice handle, I guess. One thing that Peak Design does really well is their presentation and their packaging. So the first thing is that this thing is compact. This is probably one of the most compact folded tripods that I've seen, and that is kind of impressive. Before we dive too much into reviewing this particular tripod, I just want to make a note, and this is a travel tripod. So you can compare it to something like this. This is my everyday tripod if I'm shooting in a situation like this. We're out by the lake. This is an Enduro AT114. I've had this thing for like 6 years, and it's heavy duty. It's aluminum. It's not light at all, but it lasts through sand and ocean and lakes and streams and all kinds of stuff, freezing cold. But this is heavy, and it's not necessarily something I would want to travel with. So something to keep in mind if you're kind of comparing a travel tripod to a more rugged, heavy duty tripod, it's really not a fair comparison. So I want to make sure, we keep that in mind when looking at this, because this is not going to give you the stability that this will. And it's really not supposed to. The whole purpose of a travel tripod is to be light and portable, and so far portable, I think it's doing a good job. So if you want a more appropriate comparison, I grabbed the Benro Tripster, and it has a cool name, but also that's more comparable in size and weight to the Peak Design. In fact, this one's a little lighter, but this is kind of the comparison. This one's a lot cheaper. So a little bit about the design of the Peak Design, Peak Design tripod. It's unique in the way that they did the ball head. This is not a normal ball head, and that lets you compact it a lot. And it actually folds down to 15.4 inches lengthwise when it's folded down, and that's in no small part due to this interesting center column and tripod. And we're going to talk more about that as we get along, because this is probably one of the most unique, but also one of the most polarizing aspects about this tripod is this ball head. But it does let it fold down pretty tight, so if you're looking to save space, certainly the design comes through in that respect. One of the areas where a lot of travel tripods fall short is with their maximum height. The Peak Design travel tripod extends to a maximum height of 60 inches, which is pretty good with the center column extended, but if you want to keep the center column down, it's about 51.25 inches, which is still pretty good for a travel tripod that outdoes the Benro that I just showed you. So it's a decent height, and let's take a look at how it sets up. It's got these just flip out clips. They're a lot quicker, I think, than a lot of the spinny ones, but the only thing is they don't have variable tension, so they're either open or closed, and I do believe, actually, yes, you can see they have adjustments, and see if you can see that there. You can adjust the tension, so if they do get loose or tight, you can fix that. So if you unclip all of them, you can just do one of these. Okay, well, it didn't work out completely, but you get the idea. So you pull it down, and even with the center column not extended, it actually has a decent height. So that's a shootable height for a lot of things. There's really nothing, you know, you're going to have any trouble with. If you go up, it gets even taller. So I'm about 5'7", and it goes above my eye level. That's pretty decent for a travel tripod, especially. Although I do like to keep the center column for most tripods pretty low because it gives you more stability. One of the aspects about a tripod that is really important for landscape photographers is to be able to get low. And just normal legs folded, this does get pretty low. But one feature that I absolutely love about this tripod is the ability to take out the center column. By the way, it keeps the Allen wrench right in there in a little slot. I don't know if I like that or not. I don't like having to use an Allen wrench that much, but if you have to use it, I guess it's cool that it's right there. Now, what you do is you take the ball head, flip it on its side so you can access this, stick the Allen wrench in there, loosen that, what you have is a shortened center column so that you can shoot very low to the ground. By the way, this is a phone holder. You can put your phone in there and just pop that on. It's kind of convenient to have it built in. I can't tell you how infrequently I put my phone on a tripod, but if you do, that's kind of cool. These legs can get very flat. I don't even know if you're going to see that. Let's do it over here. That's pretty cool. That's one of the lowest tripods that I've seen, even for a travel tripod. So I really like this. In fact, I'm probably going to leave it with the short center column all the time because I don't ever extend the center column when I'm shooting landscapes, sometimes with video, but really I think the short center column is the way to go on almost every tripod, and it saves you some weight as well. So while we're talking about weight, this comes in two versions, the carbon fiber, that's the one I have here, and then an aluminum alloy. And the difference isn't as much as you would expect. The aluminum one is 3.44 pounds, and this one, the carbon fiber, is 2.81 pounds. That's a difference of about 0.6 pounds, so a little more than half a pound difference. To me, not that big of a deal. Now, if you do a lot of hiking, if you're hiking, you know, tens and hundreds of miles in a week, you know, an extra pound, saving an extra half pound here and there, actually does make a big difference. It can, you know, help your fatigue and those kinds of things. So maybe that would make a difference, but I think for most people, there's not much difference between this one and the aluminum one, but there is a big difference in price. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I would probably say that you don't need the carbon fiber one. There's not that much of a difference in weight. Now let's talk about the ball head and the mount. So this uses the Peak Design mount, which is this little tiny, or Peak Design plate, which is this little tiny thing. It's Arca Swiss compatible, so you can use other Arca Swiss plates if you have a preference. It also can work with L brackets, which for landscape is very important. So I do like that it's Arca Swiss compatible. And these plates, unfortunately, you need, so I don't know if you can see that here, but you need an Allen wrench to put these on. So a lot of the plates I use have the little flip out thing that you can just turn with your hand. So you need an Allen wrench. You can't use a coin or anything like that. It is the same plate though that comes with the Peak Design clip. So if you use that clip to hold on your belt or your camera strap, you can use the same one. So they kind of want to keep you in the system. It's, you know, a good idea. So let's pop on the camera. This is my D750, and we're going to look at just how easy it is to pop on. So really all you do is stick it in, snap it down, and it's got a one-turn clamp. Now, there's things I like and things I don't like about this just one flip clamp. You know, there's not variable tension. It's either locked or not locked. I like to be able to tighten it if, you know, over time, different weather patterns and things like that, it could get loose or tighter, and you might want to adjust the variability of the tension. But again, keep in mind it's a travel tripod. It's not one of those high-end ball heads. For light camera, you don't even have to, like, that's not locked. So even though it's not locked, it's pretty tight in there. And the locking mechanism just prevents you from pressing that down to unlock it. So one of the most unique aspects of this tripod is the ball head. It's unlike any I've ever seen before. It functions a little bit differently. So you adjust the tension with this knob here. I like that it's big and it's easy to, you know, grab onto. You know, it's better than some of them have little knobs for tension, and it, you know, has full motion. You can tilt it to the side, I believe. Yeah, like this. Let's see. There you go. So it's got side portrait mode. Now this is the shorter center column. I think maybe you have to raise the center column a little bit to get full sideways. But you can use an L bracket for that. I'd recommend an L bracket anyway instead of the tilting the ball head. There is one thing that this lacks, and that's probably the biggest shortcoming of this entire tripod, and that is that it doesn't have a separate pan function. Now that's when you can loosen the tension and have it only pan left and right without tilting. This one does it all at once. You can't separate the two, so it doesn't have a separate panning, which if you're shooting a panorama like you could right here, what you're going to have is not a perfect lining up of the images. But what you can do is just shoot them a little more overlapping and shoot a little wider, because when they're not perfectly lined up, you're going to have to crop in a little bit. So you can work around it. It's not a huge deal, but the separate pan function does make things a little easier, and it's lacking in this tripod. Now, there is something you can do to get around that, and that is to get their universal plate, which instead of this ball head, it actually allows you to put your own ball head on top. So that really solves all the ball head problems, but it means that you're not going to have as compact of a tripod. So there's give and take, and I like that they give you the option to use your own ball head. That is great, because if you want the super compact ball head that comes with it, you can use that. If you want to use your own for more functionality, then you can use that. So as far as stability goes, I like the stability of this. It's, you know, it has a little wobble if I press on it, but it's pretty good. I can, you know, lean on it, and it sunk into the sand a little bit here, but it really didn't give it all. So I think it's pretty good. It's not going to be as stable as a big, heavier tripod, but again, this is a travel tripod. It's super light. As far as light tripods go, it's pretty good, and it's definitely better than some of the other travel tripods that I've used. This can handle a payload of up to 20 pounds according to Peak Design, so that's enough for virtually any DSLR and lens combo that you're going to shoot, especially if you shoot mirrorless. Quick note about the accessories. I mentioned the universal plate. Just about all their accessories are like around $30, so you can get the universal plate. You can get spiky feet for the bottom, which are really useful in a situation such as this, where I am right now, where it's kind of sandy and kind of the ground gives a little bit. One of the things I really like about the spiky feet is that they don't look like a weapon. I mean, they're metal, and they will dig into the sand the way you need them to, but some of the spike feet for tripods look like something you could like attack someone with. And for a travel tripod, It's not really something you want to carry on a plane. So now let's talk about the question that you all came here for. Is this tripod really worth the price? So the aluminum version is $350. The carbon fiber version is $600. So what I'll say is it's a great tripod. I think that if you travel a lot, if you need a lightweight, compact tripod, this is definitely one of the best I've seen. So I do think that it is worth the value. It has great value. Now, do you need the carbon fiber or the aluminum one? I talked to the company about this, and really the only difference between the two is that 0.66 pounds. So at least for my use, I wouldn't pay the extra $250. I think the aluminum one is going to give you, I know the aluminum one's going to give you all the function of the carbon fiber, just with a little bit more weight. A little bit more weight isn't always a bad thing either. If you have more weight, the tripod's going to be a little more steady without having to hang some weight on it. So unless you do a lot of hiking and you really need to save every little bit of weight, the carbon fiber one I don't think is worth the price. It's not worth the $600. But for $350, I think the aluminum version is actually pretty on par or even less expensive than similar travel tripods from Gitzo and Really Right Stuff and those other big companies that charge, you know, $600, $700, $800 or $1,000 for a tripod. I don't think that this is necessarily overpriced. I think the carbon fiber is probably not necessary. I think that the aluminum version is a great tripod. So the answer is yes. I think it is worth the price if you go with the aluminum one. What do you think? Have you tried this one out? Is it a good tripod? Do you think it's worth it? Have you tried other tripods? Leave a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I haven't tried all the tripods out there, especially all the travel tripods, so I'm always looking for more information. So let me know in the comments below if you disagree or if you think there's something I missed.